Oh, here we are. It's Wednesday. Whew. We're 1 minute into our Wednesday afternoon show. It's 2:01 p.m. And the Federal Reserve does not change interest rates lower. The market was expecting lower. They didn't get lower. They got bupkis. And they can't lower the rates. With inflation at 3.5% or 3.1 or whatever. And everybody expected the rates to be lower. And guess what? They're not going lower. And that means the interest rate pressure is serious. I mean, it's blown mortgage rates, automobile interest rates, and lease payments. The money factor is up drastically. And, you know, the bond market is going to react because rates are staying where they are. You know, when rates go up, bond rates go down. When bond rates go up, interest rates go down. Hopefully. The economy is like on the hilter-tilter, you know? It's what I would call propped up because we're in an election cycle. And, you know, you got the CPA, you got wages, private employment added 100,000 jobs in January. And the pressure continues to ease that factor because here's one. Ozempic. You know, the Ozempic drug. They're saying that's putting pressure on restaurants. Oh, God. Because we're going to squeeze that way. Let me show you the headline. There it is. Yeah. Ozempic. You ever hear of Ozempic? That is for people like Jimmy, for example, people that have, they're either diabetic or pre-diabetic. I think I'm kind of like a pre-diabetic because without Ozempic, I need 5 units of insulin 3 times a day. In the morning before breakfast, if there is a breakfast. If I don't have a breakfast, then I really don't eat it. But, my blood sugar is, running pretty good. Here, we can bring it up on screen here so everyone can see it. Everyone can see it. See, it went up there at the... where did it go? I should slide this little bar, but my fingers are... There we go. It went to 191 at about 9:30, which is about an hour after I had a cup of tea with a little tiny bit of sugar in it. I have a cup of tea. This is another cup of tea. It's actually 20 ounces of tea. Hot tea with a little bit of cream in it and just a teaspoon of sugar. A big teaspoon. not a tablespoon, a teaspoon and a half, let's say. Anyway, so, but you see how nice and flat, and it's running at 100, 100, and it goes up because of my tea, and then it's going back down. No shot of insulin. I had no insulin this morning, but I'm having Ozempic. So Ozempic is helping me because it balances out all this blood sugar stuff, which is interesting. It slows down your digestion system. Oh, yes, I did have breakfast. I'm sorry. I had a cup of, it's really quite good. Let me show you. It's actually spectacular. There it is. See, I had little pasta and the little pasta balls. There's a little piece of fish. Brenna made a spectacular seafood clams, mahi. That's a little chunk of mahi that fell off. Stir a little garlic, a little chicken broth, stirred it all around, added the clams, and took out the clams, kept the clam juices, and then added, a couple of tablespoons of canned tomato sauce, and stirred it around. It was a very light pinkish. You can see a little piece of tomato in there. Anyway, I had a cup of that this morning. Shame on me, I didn't tell you. And so, with the Ozempic, you don't have that driving force to eat big. Portion control is really quite unbalanced if you're taking, in my case, a small dose of Ozempic. And let's go back to Ozempic. There it is. A little story. Hunger suppressing drug will displace a lot of appetites and large portions. And it's true. That's the headline news right there. Brought it to you here. Now, I remember, like 8 years ago, making that up. Could be 6 years ago. Ozempic, maybe 5 years ago. Ozempic originally hit the market because it was designed to prevent heart attacks, to help prevent heart attacks, major heart condition. It helps prevent stroke, which means your heart, pumps hard and pops arteries in your brain, and that knocks out part of your brain, and it's called a stroke. And it helps with stabilizing your blood sugar, and tends to decrease your A1C. And I could see that because I watch my blood sugar like a crazy person, which you can see here. Bingo. It's at 100. See, it's going up a little bit because I'm drinking a little more of my tea. But this, when I went up to 190, which is just slightly above the green zone, but no insulin. Look at this. From 3 a.m. all the way to 9:30 or 9 o'clock, my blood sugar's flat as a cat's back, going down, even in the middle of the night. So my blood sugar is very flat. I don't think I get any. I don't get any reports. Whoops. There we go. Anyway, so Ozempic, as the industry's worried about it, the food industry's worried about it, because if people don't have these big desires to eat a lot, then there's less food that's going to be consumed. So the food producers, are affected eventually. Restaurants, instead of getting that 12-ounce fillet, you get an 8-ounce fillet. Instead of a 10-ounce fillet or a 12-ounce, you get an 8-ounce. In my case, downstairs, they have a thing called steak and wedge. So the wedge, I get like a vinaigrette on top of that, no cheese, and the steak bits, which are like sauteed at medium rare. And I'll tell you, that's all I need to eat. Forget the 16-ounce fillet or 12-ounce fillet. I can eat the steak bits, which is about 4 ounces. 4 ounces, that's the end of the, when they get the whole tenderloin. It's the tip. And it's sliced and it's sauteed. And it's spectacular. That's all I need. So, the sale of drugs like Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, and Zepbound are expected to explode over the next 5 to 10 years. Already, people on these drugs are reported that they are eating far less and losing weight, even without dieting, just because they, your whole digestion system slows down, but not your body. I mean, you can exercise. The exercise is important. So people are losing substantial amounts of weight without it trying. Restaurants are clearly in the crosshairs, because if they're smart, they will see this is an opportunity to rethink their menus and do what health associates and consumers have been clamoring for them to do. Reduce portion sizes. Have better stuff and not quite as much. And, that's what I would do if I was in the restaurant business, because this Ozempic is a winner. They call it a hunger suppression drug. It's not what it is. So this works like an injection, that you do yourself, subcutaneous. You just stick it. It comes with a Novo Nordisk needles, 8 of them, because in theory, with this size, with this blue-red combination, where'd this come from? Get out of here. Yeah, there it is, right here. Novo Nordisk. That is the company. Semaglutide injection. Single patient use only. So if I'm using a pen, Marilyn doesn't use the same pen. She has her own pen. And this one is designed for, let's see if you can see the dosage. It's the 0.25 to 0.50. So you can either have a 0.25, but you dial it up on this little thing right here. And stop. This is if you're, you take larger dosages. See, they only give you 4 needles. And this is for 2 milligram increments. So you take 4 shots of 2 milligram only. So it's a single value. You dial it up to 2 milligrams, stick it in yourself, and pump it away. And pump it in. Just goes below the skin. The needle is so fine you don't feel it. I mean, the needle is so fine, hairs. Can you imagine? And you just stick it in, you push the little plunger on the top. There it is. In this case, it's a light blue pen with an orangey label on it, just to make it different, a little orangey on the box. And that little button. So you dial, you turn this knob. There's a knob right there. You can see my finger on it. So you rotate that knob and you dial it up. Now this is, a bigger dose. This is like 4 times the dosage that we're taking. See, this is a darker blue pen with a red label on it. And this one has 2 different dosages in the dial up. One of them is for 1/4 milligram, 0.25 milligrams, in a dose, or 0.50, which is twice 0.250. But it's, 1/8 of the one that's a light blue pen with an orange, an orange sticker. Sorry for banging your speakers. my finger just touched that little sucker. So Ozempic, I can touch that and it'll look up. There it is. Ozempic, semaglutide. And I touch that right there. Look at that. It's going right to the Ozempic site. We'll turn off the reader so you can see all the nice color. We'll accept cookies. I mean, you can read the cookie thing and it's like, it's like it's written for a technician of some kind. Oops. Oh boy. Let's get back to that. There we go. Ozempic so it was like a side effect. They actually designed this Ozempic to be something that helped prevent heart attacks. Like if you're 50 years old, 60 years old, whatever. I had bypass surgery, so I'm a heart guy. Had a very mild heart attack, but when they looked at everything, they said, "Uh-oh, we got stuff to fix." And they fixed it, but it was, it was, we had a debate in the hospital on what to do. And the chief of cardiology says to me, "Oh, we need to do shows me charts and stuff." And my cardiologist meets with me in the hospital room and he says, "Jimmy, if we do that, get your affairs in order because you will not survive the operation." I said, "Oh, well, what's plan B?" We didn't want to do plan A because you don't think I'm going to survive the operation. I'm going with you. What do you recommend? He says, "I recommend this." And I couldn't get, the head of cardiology to go along with that. He wouldn't do it. Oh, jeez. So that's, I'm sitting there in the hospital for 5 days on medium rare. They got a drip of fluids and nitroglycerin and heparin. The nitroglycerin dilates all your blood veins, so the blood flows around nice and freely, and the heparin is like an anticoagulant, so you don't end up on any blood clots of any kind. So no, we don't want that. Well, these doctors are arguing with each other. And Dr. Adonis says, He says, "Jimmy, you're my mountain. We will We have two choices. We go through the mountain, which that's difficult to do because you have to dig through an awful lot of stuff. Or we go around the mountain, or we go over top of the mountain. There's three different ways of dealing with this. So my procedure is a good procedure. He did all the radiology work and got he did a angioplasty and took pictures while he was in there. And, I need to understand how to read those because it just looks like a mishmash to me. He explained it to Marilyn, and Marilyn couldn't explain it to me, which I can understand. But I would like him to describe to me what these different things are showing him. But anyway, so the operation was a success, and it took them 10 hours. Jeez. They freeze the heart, and the bypass. The whole thing is scary to death. You needed 10 units, or I don't know how many, lots of units of blood to prime the pump before they connect it to you. And then they got to make sure there are no, bubbles. and then they connect it up so that when they freeze the heart, slow it way down, it bypasses through the machine so that all your organs don't drop dead while they're trying to sew these, while they're trying to put these grafts in for the bypass. It's going to bypass the weak blood vein with a nice big fat one. That's what bypass surgery does. But you need a heart machine. Which is like, get the heart machine out. So they roll it in. It's all, they plug in the new hoses, and it's all clean and ready to go from the last operation. But when they freeze, they don't really freeze it, but they chill it. They got pads, and they so that way it pumps, like 4 beats a minute instead of 40 beats a minute. Slows it way down. And in the meantime, the bypass machine is pumping blood around because the heart is slow. And then they do the grafting work while the heart is beating 4 times a minute. And they can. There could be a lot of robotics in that now, maybe. Where they just put the robot in there and let it do it instead of the surgeon's hands, having to do that. That's a guess. But that would be a good thing for a robot to deal with. Because they could go all the way around and it'd be, you just get the thing started and you push start. And I would just go all the way around and do a few stitches all the way around it. And that way the doctor doesn't wear himself out. Anyway, that's probably what's going to happen in the future. That's not now. That's not what, I think Dr. Brian Buffet did my surgery, who's up now in central Palm Beach County. He was down here in Delray. I went to the Delray Medical Center. Instead of bringing Buffet into the Boca Medical Center and having him to deal with a strange staff, we decided to transport me up to Delray, and that way he could have his, all the people that he works with. You got, a team of 8 people, are involved in a bypass surgery. And these are all people that he knows instead of a bunch of people that he really doesn't know that well. So I said, well, it sounds like the best idea would be it's easier to move me than to move him. But let me tell you, that ride in the ambulance, they make you ride in an ambulance. I'd have rather ridden in the front seat of my own car, let Marilyn drive. But that ambulance ride, I mean, it was like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. It's crazy. Now I know why they got the Velcro goes all the way across. Because when you're in the back of the ambulance, they don't really have very good suspensions. So, oh my lordy, that was crazy. Crazy. So, wow. Now, when I was done, Marilyn picked me up at Delray and drove me home. I didn't need an ambulance coming back. So, I said it was a very, very delicate operation. Ah, boy. Anyway, it was like 10 hours. And the bad part of the 10 hours is that you're open for 10 hours. Is the anesthesia gets so soaked in your system. My fingers look like kielbasis. They're all swollen up. Oh my God, forget having a ring on. I mean, it was swollen up. I mean, geez, they're all these fingers are like thumbs. It's terrible. From the swelling, so all your tissues are swollen, all your tissues, I'm sure, in your cranium are all swollen up, and the anesthesia is poison. No matter what they say. Now, it knocks you out, lowers your vital signs, and you pass out, basically. You're being chemically controlled poisoning. And, they stop putting it in, and then you awaken and all that kind of stuff. But you have the residual of all this. Oh, God. And your body has to metabolize, that so that it's out of your system. Anyway. So once you have that, so then this Ozempic is proven to lower blood sugar and A1C. Well, I can tell you after 2 or 3 weeks on that, I think I'm going into my third week. Saturday, I give myself a shot every Saturday, sometime before lunch. It has nothing to do with eating. It's just Saturday, mid-morning, 10 o'clock, I give myself a shot. And And the second one is it lowers the risk of major cardiovascular events, such as stroke, heart attack, or death. Yeah, we don't want any one of those. Those are 3 things we don't want. So it drastically lowers the risk of those 3. There's one in the middle. And they found out after using it for 8 or 10 years is that, oh, look at that, the blood sugar level has dropped. And the A1C has come way down. Holy mackerel. People that are 7.5 A1C all of a sudden, below 7. And Ozempic may help you lose some weight. It's not a weight reduction drug. It's actually one that lowers the risk of major cardiovascular events, such as heart attacks. And because you take the drug because of this middle one, you end up losing a little weight, they found out, and your blood sugar is, really stabilize your blood sugar like crazy. And the reason why you lose weight is because you automatically, portion control. You don't need to have a 21-ounce steak anymore. Yeah, I'll take steak bits. So instead of the $79 plate, with the $8 optional potato, I get steak and wedge, and they give you a real nice crispy piece of, iceberg lettuce, like an eighth. And they pour, in my case, vinaigrette on all over it. I don't like, the cheesy dressings that they have. And the steak bits. So, I munch down that wedge like crazy. I like to go down there and get that again, actually. Because it's the one time of the week where I, eat a whole eighth of a piece of, a thing of iceberg lettuce. It's really quite good. I could go down there twice a week. I should go down there twice a week. Marilyn and I should go down there twice a week and have steak and wedge. Now, she likes, a lot of the dressings on the wedge. And I just like they have some kind of vinaigrette that they make up for something else. And that's what I want on my wedge. Anyway, but because they created this drug to help lower risk of heart attacks and stroke, it turns out that the patients that were on it for 2 or 3 months, they said, holy crap, I'm losing weight. And oh my God, my A1C has gone from 7.8 to 6.9. And that's like, holy mackerel, just with this one drug. So it's become extremely popular. It's not a weight loss drug, but there are a lot of ladies that are doing it because you lose weight. And gentlemen, I'm sure. Let's see. The Ozempic pen. Oops, yeah. So they show you how the pen works. Let's see if there's any graphical stuff here. I don't know why they... Step. This is a Novo Nordisk Scandinavian. Oh yeah, oh my God. This is that little fine paper that they put. I don't think we want to look at that. Let's see, what is this? A1C is an interesting measurement, because if you ask your doctor, what does A1C mean? These medical scientists have a hard time trying to explain it. So here's you screw on the pen, and so we can see a pen without a needle on it. Anyway, so you dial it. Yeah, there's the dial I showed you. You turn that. The needle comes in this little container. It's got a paper tab on it. It's got the needle and a cap on the needle and then a cap on the cap. So you basically pull the tab off, and this thing, you screw on to see, there it is. So, there's the pen without a needle on it. See, it's got a threading on there. Whoops. It's threaded. And then you screw this on there. And this are together to protect the needle, so you don't bend it or touch it to anything. And then you dial up, so doses of 0.25 milligrams and 0.50 can be selected with this, when you rotate it, and it clicks. So after about 30 clicks, you end up at 0.25. And 30 more clicks, you end up with 27 more clicks, you end up with 0.50 on here. And that sets the pen so that when you subcutaneously stick the needle in you, And, the best way to do it is just to pop it in there with a little velocity. Don't I mean, unless you're torture, I mean, take a hurricane, just bam, just pop it in. And then push the button. Push the button all the way in, and then count to 6. 1,000, 2, 1, to make sure that the needle has, that the full prescription amount has flowed through. Remember, the needle's only 2 hairs in diameter, so it's a skinny little sucker. So it's squirting in there through a little tiny, it's really small. It's 32 gauge needle. There is a 33 gauge needle. I haven't found it yet. I like the needle design that, the Novo Needle Plus, they call it. And you can see that the needle, oops, I think I've expanded that as much as it'll go when you do the old reverse pinch, yeah. But you see there's no plastic that protrudes. The needle comes right out of this blunt surface. And you just push it all the way into you don't have to measure it. It's only 4 millimeters in length, which is 1/4 of an inch, which is, like that much. 1/4 of an inch is like that much. Yeah, you can see that. So you just pop it in, push the button, hold the button down. It gives you your automatic injection. And then you pull this thing out. You put this cap back on that. And you put the pen cap back on top. Like that. See? Now here they're opening it up. And then you dial it in. And where you stick it in, around your belly area. You can stick it in your leg, because there's fatty tissue here. It only goes in 1/4 of an inch, so it's not like you're going to go intramuscular, because this is not, that's, if you get a virus injection or something. This is not an intramuscular type injection. This is subcutaneous, which means under the skin. And then when you're done with your injection, you unscrew the needle and you throw the needle in a proper disposal. I always bend the needle when I'm done so that if somebody would search through my trash, they don't get a live needle. They get a bent one. See? And then it says, see, you stick your thing, you push the cap, you count slowly, 1, 1,000, you count to 6, and then pull it out, and you're DUN done. You don't feel a thing. I promise you, you don't feel it. You only feel it if you may feel a little bit if you go like slow motion. No, you don't want slow motion. You want fast motion. Now you don't want you don't want to like because you're only going in 1/4 of an inch. So, but practice on an orange. That's what we did in pre-med school. Is they give you an orange and you do your needles into an orange skin, because there's a little extra texture. Actually, a tomato would actually be better, but the tomatoes. And I did practice on tomatoes, but it's easier to throw out oranges in the class than trying to carefully deal with tomatoes, because the skin on a tomato is very much like the skin, and it's soft material under the skin, so it's a perfect surface to pop that needle into the tomato skin, and that's how you just pop that needle into your arm. But in this case, we pump it in areas where you have a little extra fatty tissue. So around your stomach, around the backs of the arms, not the front, but the back part, there's a little fatty areas. I don't know how you would do it. I mean, that's something else would have to give you the injection because you're around backwards. But you could do it on your legs, your upper thigh, or your belly. And that's why I do it. If I need to do, because of the blood pressure peak, if I need some insulin, I'll put that over here on my right side. And I put the Ozempic in the left side. They don't want you to put it in the same area. They said separate a little bit. So if you do it on the right side over here, you do it on the left side over there. That's all. Just keep it separated. Just not on top of each other, because you don't want to mix them up. It's not supposed to be mixed. I don't know what happens if you did mix it. You inject it right over top of the other. But they say, put it on either side. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so there's it. See, you turn it up 2 clicks, you push the button, and if a little drop appears, then the needle is primed. That's before you dial up. You want to make sure the needle is filled up with no air bubbles. I think I've hit all the high points of this little article. You push it in, you pull it out. It's a beautiful little system. This Novo Nordisk cartridge. It's the same exact thing I have for my insulin. It's just a different, the inside tube. And this thing comes out. But in Ozempic, it's not refillable. So when the pen is empty, I guess you put it in the trash heap. Let's see what they say. Dispose of pens and needles. Do it according to the FDA cleared disposal container. So they don't reuse the pen and put a new thing in it. I guess it's just as easy to make another one than it is to worry about decontaminating a used pen, that's been used for a month. So they say, you know what, pitch it, and we'll just have the machines grind out another 1,000,000 of them, so we don't have to worry about, cleaning the pens when you return them. So they're expecting you to dispose of them in the proper fashion. Okay, that's the end of my story with Novo Nordisk. That's Ozempic, and the restaurant industry is bracing for people ordering smaller portions. And I guess as you get on with the Ozempic, whoops, this is a fun. Yeah, there we go. See, semaglutide, 8 milligrams. So you take 1 dose a week. That's all it is, every week. Not every day, every week. You give yourself, in this case, 2 milligrams. And there's 8 milligrams, so that's 4 injections. So you have 4 NovoFine Plus needles, product brochure, and the pen. And it's in light blue with an orange, pumpkin, mustard looking color on the label and on the box, to make you understand that it's a 2 milligram dose instead of a 0.5 milligram dose, which is 4 times more. Now I'm doing 0.25. So this is like 8 times stronger. So I like, let's just start off nice and easy so we don't, after a few months, I'll ask my doctor, if stepping up the dosage is necessary for someone that is crowding 80. I said crowding, not 80. It's getting very close. I'm actually crowding 79. I could be crowding, but, I'm past 75. Let's put it that way. But I'm active. 70 something. Let's see if the Associated Press has top stories. Look at that. They don't even talk about the interest rates. Amazing. Let's do business. Federal Reserve signals interest rate cuts aren't imminent and leaves them unchanged for now. That is the headline for the day. And you can see the Fed chairman on the TV monitor to the... Oh, you can't see it yet. It's coming up. Oops. Let's just leave that way. Come down here. Leave that there. Come up a little bit. There we go. That looks pretty good. Save that to photos. I'll show you what I just did. It takes a while for it to... It'll reset itself in a minute. Because I didn't... I guess there it is. Yeah. Federal Reserve indicates interest rate cuts aren't imminent. That's another way of saying we are not cutting interest rates. Why don't they just say that? Now, interest rate cuts aren't imminent. All right, so that means it's not happening now. I mean, they could have just said, we are not cutting interest rates anytime in the near future. Even though you guys were saying we're going to cut interest rates, we're not doing it. Interest rates are unchanged. And when they have the next Fed meeting, they're not changing interest rates then either, likely. They meet every month. They have quarterly meetings and all that stuff. But, with the inflation rate in the 3s, until interest rates get down to 2, I think they're going to leave the rates where they are. And if it gets like 2.25, maybe they relax rates because then then that changes the balance. The people start buying more and doing more, and that excites the economy, and then inflation starts going up again. So you got to slow down the economy, which they are slowing down the economy for sure, because people can't buy houses, so that slows the housing industry down, and that means everybody that makes things for the housing, like people that cut wood, farm the wood, cut the trees down, the plywood manufacturers, the people that make nails, everything that's involved with making a house, which you don't think about, but, all the sheetrock, all the materials to make sheetrock, which is, like a cement kind of a product. And in between, layers of, paper, heavy paper, which they spackle and paint and, all that stuff. It's amazing. So when the housing industry slows down, a whole bunch of other industries slow down with it. Because when you build houses, there's a lot of other industries that supply. You call that the supply chain. A lot of other industries are affected if you slow down making houses. All right, that was the signal of the day. Let's. That's Ozempic. I gave you that. All right, the real reason we're stuck with Trump and Biden. Well, the real reason you're stuck with Biden is because some of these people that weren't thinking very clearly wouldn't leave well enough alone, and they decided to throw Trump out because he was too much of a tough guy. All right, you don't want tough guys, so now you got mealy mouth. And he's not doing anything. You can't tell what he's thinking because he's 81 or something, or 82. He's 80 something. He's too many years. Whatever. It's not age. It's he's just not working at the same capacity as you want. He's. And when you got all these other world leaders that are on top of things big time, and this guy's on oxygen, he has to take naps, he probably goes to bed at 7, it's, you wonder who's really running the country. It's not him. Somebody else. There are people back, in the next to the White House in those offices. They're running the country. Not this guy. He just reads the bulletins and, grunts and groans. But the real things that are going on in our economy are directed by his senior staff people. Some of them have already left the White House because they know he's going to be gone. And going to be gone is not where you want to be if you're the senior aide to the president and you know he's going. So the best thing to do for you is get your resume in print. Everyone knows who they are. And the networks start picking them up and making them offers. And they're negotiating with networks right now. We already have. Press secretary took off, and what are we left with? I mean, she's an embarrassment to look at. And she speaks for the president. Oh, my God. And she's just double talking. I don't even watch press, the press conferences. They're a complete waste of time. Because she doesn't know what's going on. They don't include her. So she doesn't know. She's reading bulletins, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. She puts them in a notebook. She reads through them. She got staffers that are practicing with her so she can, and the media is, they're like soft shoeing this one. They're not browbeating her. There are a couple of people that ask questions in there. Ducey, the son of the guy that's on a morning show on Fox. Peter Ducey. Tall, young kid that's in the White House. So he asks her questions. So they zero in on him when he asks a question because he asks a question that needs to be answered. And he asks it in a very pointed way so that she doesn't have as much wiggle room, as they call it. Anyway, what's the real reason? We have these two candidates because, well, the Biden side is we're not having any primaries. That was the end of that. So if he's running, that's it. No primaries. No one's going to run against me. And that's it, period. You go to the convention, he gets anointed, in March or June, whenever they have that. And Trump, we had real primaries. We had 2 of them. And in Iowa, he got 51.5% of the vote. The highest percentage ever in recorded history did a presidential candidate get more than 50% of the vote. He got 51.5%. The one that was second place, who was the highest, was Bush, 41. He got 41%. Well, Trump upped that to 51%. So he blew away Iowa, and the one left in the race, Tricky Nikki, she got 20%. Our governor in Florida got actually 22%. He got second place, and he dropped out because he said, this guy got 50 and I got 20. We really worked the state, and we can't beat, the Trump people want Trump. And I was hoping they would switch. I got a great resume. Look what I've done with Florida. And they want Trump, so that's fine. I like Trump. I like everything about Trump. The only thing that's not good about Trump is the baggage. Because everybody, complains about this and complains about that, and, yada, yada, yada. The facts are that Trump is, extremely popular with Republicans. And the more the Democrats try to screw him up with lawsuits and all that, his polling goes up. Because the American public aren't going to stand for it. Or at least half of the American public aren't going to stand for it. And, so now Biden's got a record, which is not good. I just heard on the news last night that someone who studies this, who's in the business of counting the gotaways and all that kind of stuff. Well, the gotaways, you never hear about that number. Over the 3 years of Biden's term, there's 1,000,003 gotaways. So divide that by, 30 months. So you not only have 250 or 300,000 people that they know came in, but you got another 100,000 or 75,000 gotaways. And the gotaways are probably the bad guys. Or they're loaded with drugs, because they're not going to go through the line like the rest of these schlemmills. Illegal aliens. We let them in like crazy. It's terrible. So, that's, with Trump, you had the lowest amount of people coming in the country in the history of the border over 50 years. With this guy, we have the most. So what do you want? What do you got to do? You got to feed these guys. You have to house them, because, it's not like we have an extra. He's let in 6 million illegal aliens. We don't know who the hell they are or where they are, because they're just spraying them all over the country. And you got 1,000,003 gotaways that are, probably seriously bad. That's why they snuck over the border instead of, the back door is open, but they still go around the side because they don't want to be seen. And they're loaded with drugs. They're loaded with bad backgrounds. Who knows? Maybe they're going to plot something, really nasty. Something's going to happen in this country. You just write it down. Something is not going to be good. You can't let in all these people, and you don't know who they are. Oh yeah, they give them court dates. I think 11% of them show up. With this massive amount, probably 5% show up because the dates are like 6-7 years out before they can get in front of a judge because there's so many of them. They can't hire the judges fast enough. Oh, that's great. That's just wonderful. Oh, God. So, we have a primary system. Trump won Iowa by the largest percentage victory in the history of Iowa doing what they do, the caucus thingy. Then we come down to New Hampshire, where he beats Nikki by, 12%. Okay. He didn't get 50%. He got under 50%, but he beat her by 12%, or maybe he did. I kind of forget the exact number, but he beat her by 12%. So he had 50%, she had 38%. He beat her by 12 percentage points. And looking at the real, damn it, I should do it here. Where's real clear? Let's try to do this. Real clear politics. Oops. I'm trying to, 2 R's, no. E-A-L. No. All right, let's try this. I really want the app. This is... All right, this is Wednesday, the latest presidential polls. All right. You can see it there. We're running out of time here. Already over an hour. Georgia versus Biden. Trump up by 8. Michigan, Trump up by 5. Nevada, Trump up by 8. North Carolina, Trump up by 10. Pennsylvania, Trump up by 3. Wisconsin, Trump up by 5. Arizona, Biden, Kennedy, West, Trump up by 8. Georgia, Trump up by 7. Michigan, Trump up by 6. Nevada, Trump up by 12. North Carolina, Trump by 13. Where's this Nikki person? I don't even see her in these poll results. Oh, here we go. Republican presidential primary. Trump 73, Haley 17. Trump by 56. This is, just the primary stuff. Yeah, they do different, you can see there's a whole lot of polling done. So, real clear politics. There is an app. I'm surprised I don't see a thing to say, why don't you get the app, dummy? This is like the web version. But they have an app. South Carolina primary. So far, Trump is 52% of the vote. Haley's got 20. Trump 52. Scott has got 11%, and 8% is a mixture of others. In Nevada, Trump is 69%. And DeSantis, he's still on the thing. He's got 10.5. The Michigan primary, Trump is 61%. California, Trump, Republican primary now. Trump is at 61%. So Trump is like, the Trumpers are really, really banging in there. As they should, what the heck. You got 49.99% of the vote. You lost the last election in 5 states, totaling 40,000 votes mixed over 5 or 6 states. This whole part of the middle part of the country. All the liberals are on the coasts. You got all the New York, liberals and the California Democrats. So on the edges of the country, it's strongly liberal, plus Illinois, Chicago, and so forth. But then you got everything in the middle of that. The South, that's relatively conservative. Florida was a purple state, and now it's looks red because of DeSantis has done such a great job. He's lowered taxes. He's jumped on the school thing. There's no walk in Florida. He's thrown it out of the schools. He's taken, some books that speak about all this sex stuff, and he's removed them from libraries where, the libraries are servicing, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, 6th grade. Now, the high school libraries, he hasn't taken the books out of the high school library. But, do you want your 3rd grader looking at sex change operation stuff, in the public libraries that are in schools? No. So that's what he's done. He hasn't burned the books. He just says, in elementary school, no way. And the parents have said, I don't want you teaching that stuff to my kids, period. We'll take care of it at the home. You guys stick to reading, writing, and arithmetic. And biology. But not that kind of biology. Gay and I had no clue when I was, an 8th grader what that was all about. Today, geez. Anyway, so that's why Florida is looks red instead of purple. Even one Dade County, things in Dade County, which is hard, liberal. All right. On that happy tone, we'll be back to you tomorrow. We got 1 hour 9 minutes under our belt, so we'll just call it a day. Have a great afternoon. It's 3:10 p.m. It's the last day of the month, and we'll tune in on this with some more exciting news tomorrow. We discussed Ozempic, so now you have a real clear picture of just how the Ozempic thing works. I'll bring out my Ozempic, the box and the thing, so you can see all the pieces. It's a lot easier if you understand it. It works beautifully, So if you're a near diabetic or you have any kind of hearty thing, you talk to your primary care physician and talk about it. Because if it can help prevent heart attacks, which makes you live longer in a sense, and if it can help prevent strokes, people get them all the time, and it can affect your A1C so it stays stable instead of jumping up into the 7s or higher, it may, work real good with your blood sugar. And as a byproduct, you end up losing a little weight. It's not a weight reduction drug. Some medical practitioners are incorrectly prescribing that, but that should not be the primary reason for taking Ozempic. Although it's a byproduct, it's designed for the heart stuff and the major cardiac events, to help prevent major cardiac events. That's what it was designed for. For people that have had bypass surgeries and all that. I mean, I'm just going back, 5-6 years ago. That was what they advertised. And it just so happened, holy crap, look at the blood sugar on my patient since she's been taking this drug. Blood sugar is stabilized like crazy. That was a byproduct. And the other byproduct is, holy crap, I lost 12 pounds. I haven't done anything. Why? Because it slows down your digestive system a little bit, so you don't feel as hungry, and you look at a bowl of food and say, hey, I can have a smaller bowl of food, and I don't feel like I'm starving myself. And you're not starving yourself, because you don't need all those calories anyway. So it's really, I'm very pleased with it. And there's no side effects, at least, I'm, just an average guy biologically. 35% of my friends are dead because they haven't lived, they haven't lived as long as I have. So they're dying off. And according to the Social Security Administration, I will announce here that since I made it to my current level, I should live to 90. At least. On average. So I'm going to annoy all my relatives for at least another decade or more. And on that happy note, I'm going to say, you have a great afternoon. See you tomorrow. It's 3:15. Be careful when you drive home.